Hey guys, Hugh here. Welcome to the video. I want to break down the video sales letter call booking funnel in this video. So this is going to be great if you run a service-based business, a high-ticket SaaS business, and you're taking calls, a consulting or a coaching business. So basically, if you have a high-ticket offer that you sell over the phone, this is going to be super important for you because everything is centralized around this video sales letter. So basically, if you ask what it is, I'm just going to give you an example and show you kind of my own video sales letter. So basically, you have a call out to the market, you have a claim, you know, what's the offer that you're offering. You have the video itself, which basically is just going to break it down. This is like the raw version before kind of going into editing and stuff. So basically through this video, it is literally me walking through a letter, and that's going to break down the offer really clearly and concisely. Once we've got a lot more data, you're going to film this out and make it a bit more, jazz it up a bit, make it look a bit smarter. But right now, this works, right? Call to actions throughout. So book a call. And then we have validation through, results. So basically going through client features, a little bit about myself and my background. So just building relevancy, more results, more case studies, results, and just kind of reiterating what we're talking about at the top, right? And then they click a link. It's going to take them to a call booking page, and they'll be able to apply for a call with myself. They'll have to fill out a quick form, and then that is basically everything on this page. So that's going to take them to my calendar, and then I'll take those calls with qualified people. So why do you need it, right? Firstly is to qualify prospects. Like, I've seen a lot of people in the online space who will try and get calls booked through Messenger without sending anything beforehand. And if you're doing that yourself as the business owner especially, it's really draining and time consuming because people don't really know anything about you. And you're kind of just, you're going into that call on the back foot. You're having to prove yourself, you're having to validate yourself. Whereas this does that for you, right? Builds a lot of authority, builds a lot of respect. And understanding about what you do, right? Breaking down your methodology in a really clear and concise way, or your service in a really clear and concise way. So people aren't jumping on the call like needing to understand more about what you do. They actually understand what it is you do and how you can help them. And then that way you're also going to remove objections as well. Like if people are coming on and again, they don't know much about what it is you do, you're able to handle objections up front in the video sales letter. But you're also able to update this, right? Because let's say you do a version 1, you get it out there and you're taking some sales calls and you're getting some common objections come up, you can add that into the sales letter, right? You can literally just add that in, and then that's going to remove some of those objections before they even jump on the call and potentially push them away from booking a call if they're the wrong fit as well. Because we don't want to waste our time speaking to people that have no intention of working with us if we're actually jumping on sales calls. You want to get on calls with the right people. Pre-framing high ticket as well. So this is a good way to pre-frame that your offer is high ticket. Most of the time it's pretty self-explanatory, but for some markets, like they need to kind of know that this could be a costly investment for them, and only to book if they're at a certain point, in their business or something like that. Gives you control. So one thing with a lot of other marketing methods is it is very sporadic and unpredictable. Having a centralized video sales letter, like somewhere where you're consistently taking someone to convert them into a call, gives you a level of control. You know what kind of input you have to get the output of booking a call. So really, it's a centralized place to position your offer and keep things concise. Next, if we think about how we drive traffic to it, really there's kind of 3 modalities. There's inbound, there's outbound, and there's paid advertising. So inbound is, this is going to vary from person to person and depending on the business and where your prospects hang out. But first of all, there's organic Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So, LinkedIn is probably going to be a big one for a lot of people in the B2B space. Like if you're trying to work with other businesses and companies, like LinkedIn is going to be huge. But you can also find businesses on Facebook and founders and owners on Instagram. Like it's, you can obviously find businesses on Instagram as well. But that can be a little bit harder compared to LinkedIn. YouTube is going to be a bit of a long game for a lot of people, but YouTube can be a good way to generate cold traffic for your audience if you're making very specific videos. So the goal of YouTube isn't to be a massive influencer and do like vlogs and stuff. It's literally to showcase your expertise and talk to your audience. So it's very specific. And a Facebook group as well, if you have one already. This can be a very long game if you're trying to grow one from scratch. So I wouldn't recommend it for a lot of people. I'd probably focus more on these two things. But those are kind of inbound methods. So inbound is somebody is seeing your content and they're clicking a link to your VSL to go and book a call. Next, which has a lot more control over it, is outbound. So this is you going out to people. And there's two core methods of doing this, which is messaging people or emailing people. There is a third, which is cold calling people as well. Personally, I'm not a fan of doing that, but you could do that as well. I just haven't included it here because it's not something I personally do. But messaging on LinkedIn, again, like it's probably the easiest platform to get attention and actually have people accept your messages is LinkedIn. Facebook and Instagram, you can do that on as well. People are going to be a little bit more hesitant on these platforms because they're going on there to, it's social media. They're going on there to relax. They're going on there to entertain themselves. They're not going on there necessarily to do business. LinkedIn, however, it is a business platform. It's people are literally on there. They're looking for solutions. They're looking for answers. And so if you have the right answer for them, then LinkedIn can be great. And again, in these messages and these emails, then you can easily get people clicking through to VSL. The thing with cold email as well is like you can get that set up with LinkedIn. So for example, if you're connecting with someone on LinkedIn, you send them an opening message, you can follow up with them a couple of days later on email and just say, hey, we connected on LinkedIn. I'm not sure if you saw my message, but we're actually looking to help businesses like yourself do X, Y, and Z. So that's where you're talking about your service. I have a quick video that breaks it down if you'd like me to send it over, and then you're getting permission from them to send over your video sales letter, and then you send them the link. If they don't book a call, you can follow them up, but that's going to be a good way to do things outbound. So that gives you more of a level of control. And then my favorite is paid advertising. This is more for scaling offers. So if you're already getting leads, you're already getting calls, you're getting some sales in, you validated your offer, you validated your video sales letter, paid ads is going to be the next logical step. It's going to give you the most control because literally all you need to do is, potentially spend more on the platform once you've got things dialed in, and you can get more leads and more calls booked. So I would always start on Meta. Meta is probably the easiest platform to get started on. And see the last video I did on this because I literally did a full tutorial on how to set this up. So I'll link that in the description below. You can kind of get access to that. It's like a full walkthrough. LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn is actually a very similar platform to Meta, like in terms of how it operates and things. It's very easy to use if you're used to using Meta. LinkedIn's great because it's a lot more dialed in with their targeting. So you can get a lot more granular with who you're trying to reach. So for B2B, this is really good, right? It's really good for finding people who are have certain titles in the corporate space. It's good for finding business owners. Like it can be very, very specific. The problem with LinkedIn versus Facebook is it's a lot more expensive. So chances are you might get more of the right leads on LinkedIn, but it's going to cost you a lot more. So over time, it can average out that LinkedIn is just better. But I would always start with Meta and then take that to LinkedIn. So validate on Meta, then take to LinkedIn. Same thing with YouTube. Like YouTube is generally a good platform for scaling. It's a lot harder to test things off the ground. So once you've got things dialed in, let's say you're spending like $5,000, $10,000 a month on Meta, or between Meta and LinkedIn, that's when I would look at YouTube. I probably wouldn't look at it before then because it's a better platform for scaling. It's quite hard to do low budget testing on YouTube. So that's the kind of method of driving traffic to the VSL. Then what we want to think about is what happens if somebody doesn't book a call. So, you might have a 10% conversion rate on that page, meaning if 100 people come through to your page, 10 book a call. So what do we want to do with the other 90 people? Well, we don't want to just leave it to chance that eventually they'll remember the URL and come back to you. We want to be front of mind. So this is where content is king. But not just like any old content. Like we're not doing this to be an influencer. We're doing this to be relevant in our expertise and showcase our offer again and again and again to people so they really understand it. And this is where, if you take the claim on your VSL headline. So when I showed you the page before, that was really just like breaking down my VSL and the headline at the top. But that is like your offer. That's what you're leading with. And so I would use that as the basis of creating content. So basically what you want to do is create content that reinforces that claim. And that can be done through breaking down your methodology and talking from like an expertise standpoint. That can be showcasing results in case studies. That can be, it can be storytelling as well, and like how you acquired the skills to learn that knowledge, or how some of your clients did the same thing, right? So you're reinforcing the headline. So there's more people start to potentially understand it more or trust it more, or sometimes it's even just a timing thing, right? Someone might click through to your VSL and they're like, oh, it sounds kind of good, but it's not really super relevant for where I'm at right now. If you keep showing up in content, they see your offer, they see your offer, they see your offer, eventually, like, it might be the right time for them, and then they click through and then book a call in your VSL. YouTube, again, is a really good platform for this. So if you are, handling objections, you're sharing results, you're removing concerns, you're sharing your expertise on YouTube relevant to your offer, then that's going to be probably the best platform to be front of mind. Obviously, you can promote those YouTube videos on LinkedIn and Meta and wherever else you're posting. If you have an email list, you can do it there as well. But driving people to YouTube is going to allow you to go in a bit more depth than it would do on like those other platforms. Those other platforms are generally better for like short format content, whereas YouTube allows people to have a lot more depth when they're watching a video with you. So, like some of my videos are 30 minutes long on YouTube. People aren't going to sit and watch a 30-minute or even a 10-minute video on Facebook or Instagram. People's attention spans very short on those platforms, and so getting people onto YouTube is good. It's also a really kind of authoritative platform. If you think about how many people actually like create their own YouTube videos versus, people who are on the other platforms, like there's a lot more authority tied into having a YouTube channel. And so that just like ticks a box in the back of a prospect's mind, like, yeah, this person's trustworthy. I want to listen more to what they have to say. And then that drives them back to the video sales letter as well. Like, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people that drop off through this. It's a funnel at the end of the day. So if you imagine people, it's wide at the top, it's narrow at the bottom. That's because people are, are exiting throughout. But we want to control the traffic. So we want to run ads. We want to use organic marketing. We want to do outbound to get more people in the top. But then we want to make sure that we are qualifying people and we're keeping people in as they come through the funnel as well, the follow-up and the content and everything else as well. And really, like, this is a streamlined system. This isn't complex at all. You have one centralized area you're sending people to that video sales letter with a claim that you've proven organically. You're running traffic to it, and then you're following up with people. If you watch the last video I did as well, breaking down the Facebook ads framework, if you run a lead form or even a landing page, but you're getting someone's phone number when they opt into the VSL, you can even add like a text and an outbound dial to it. Some of my clients do that and it works really well for them, right? You need to have someone on your team to do that because it is quite tedious. Like, some of my clients don't because they don't have that person yet. But if you're taking phone numbers when people are opting in, that's just an extra human touch point where you can get another call booked, and you might add another 10, 20% of calls from the leads that you're getting just by doing that. Obviously, those numbers are going to vary from business to business, but it is definitely going to improve things if you are running ads and you're getting that. If you're running people through cold traffic and outbound, I probably wouldn't bother with an opt-in page. I would send them literally straight to the VSL page as well, because otherwise that's going to be an unwanted bottleneck. If you cold message someone and then you're like, hey, click here, and then it takes them to an opt-in page, chances are they're going to be less likely to click it. So you want to send them straight to the VSL. And same with any follow-up, YouTube or anything like that. Just send them straight to the VSL page. Don't worry about an opt-in for that. If you have any questions on this, feel free to comment in below the video. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can and give you some insights as well. Hopefully this is super useful. And if you want to check out that Facebook ads tutorial, I'll link it down below.